we have the friends come from on the stage, and also we have friends from online through the Sinang Live and also Zoom Live. So this is a great event that we have the third Hydrogen Economy Forum. So now may I invite Mr. Colin Tam, Chairman of the Organizing Committee of the Forum, to come to the stage to make an opening remark.
Mr. Xie, the Honorable Dr. Low,
Sophia Chang, and distinguished guests, and also ladies and gentlemen, and also all the friends that have joined this event online. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world. As you all know, this is the third Hydrogen Economy Conference that we have organized. The first two is under very restricted COVID condition, but we still managed to have 400 plus for our first event and 500 plus in last year's event. So I'm very happy to announce this morning that we have over 800 as of this morning. And so we got over 300 registrars on site, and then we got the rest online. And as we were talking, I think their registration number is still increasing. So we are very, very happy that people are interested in this very, very important topic. To me, there are a lot of people asked me in the last couple of days that how big will the hydrogen industry be? So I say I don't have an answer. But my forecast, personal forecast, unscientific one, will be as big as the oil industry. The hydrogen industry might be as big. Now, I mean, it might not be successful, right? Forecasts are to be made, right? To be wrong, but this would be my personal forecast for today. And you can mark it and see whether 15 years later it will be right. 15 years ago, I forecast solar is going to be the mainstream of renewable, and today they are cheaper than any other source of power, including coal-fired power. Okay, so it's also our very great honor to have a important strategic partner in the Hong Kong TTC. So we thank you, Madam Sophia Chang, who's the Deputy Executive Director of Hong Kong Trade Development Council, to be with us this afternoon. In addition, I also need to thank the other four fellow co-organizers, which is one of them is headed up actually by Dr. Low Gok, the Hong Kong Green Strategy Alliances. And the second one is by Professor Daniel Chang, who's and then the third one, Mr. Simon Ng, the Business Environment Council, as well as Mr. Johnny Chung, the Star Foundation. Is one of the first blockchain-based, organization promoting green behavior, right? And thank you for being here, and thank you for being the co-organizer. And now I would like to introduce or invite Dr. Low Gok to give us, representing all our organizers, to welcome everybody and introduce our Honorable Secretary later on. Dr. Low.
Mr. Cai Jinwan, Secretary for Environment and Ecology, Sophia, and Chairman and members of the Organizing Committee of this forum, distinguished speakers and guests. We have a lot of attendants who are joining in person or online. So to all of you, the warmest good afternoon. Well, thank you very much for joining the third Hydrogen Economy Forum. So the forum of the 2022 is co-organized by the Hong Kong Green Strategy Alliance, Hong Kong Environmental Industry Association, Business Environment Council, Hong Kong Association of Energy Service Companies, and Stars Foundation. As the founding chairman of the Hong Kong GSA, I am honored to be invited to speak at the opening of this very important forum. And this forum, in fact, is the third in a row. So we actually start planning for the next one. Well, maybe by that time we'll couple with the important trade show and contribute to the carbon neutrality of Hong Kong. So this year, we are again very privileged to have continuous support from the Hong Kong Trade Development Council. And the HATDC is our strategic partner. And with their help, we're able to make HGF 2022 an official and integral part of Eco Expo Asia 2022. We are also very honored to have Mr. Jie Jinwan, BBS JP, Secretary for Environment and Ecology of the Government of the Hong Kong SSR, to be our guest of honor. So Mr. Jie, in fact, needs no introduction. So he's such an important person in leading Hong Kong in the road towards carbon neutrality, and with the latest development and a lot of initiatives in this direction, we are very confident that we should be able to meet the ultimate target of carbon neutrality in the year 2050. So Mr. Chair will deliver his keynote speech in a moment, and then we are very pleased to be able to have this opportunity to listen to him about all these important development strategies. Furthermore, we have invited renowned experts to serve us their cutting-edge know-how, professional insights, as well as the latest updates and policy direction related to this important topic of hydrogen economy. Well, hydrogen economy indeed is getting very hot in Hong Kong these days. And there are many eye-catching initiatives. To name a few, the first triaxle hydrogen bus, Hong Kong Political Council's award-winning integrated fuel cell hybrid power system, and the experiment being carried out by Town Gas in distributing hydrogen, making use of the current Town Gas network system. So as a clean energy source, hydrogen may contribute significantly towards achieving carbon neutrality, and the ultimate goal as set in the China National Plan, as well as Hong Kong's Climate Action Framework, to accomplish in the middle of this century. Hydrogen emits no carbon or other pollutants into the atmosphere while giving up energy. And a lot of scientists promote it as an environmental friendly and inexhaustible energy source for the future. Hydrogen economy is a new economic system in which green hydrogen is widely used as an energy carrier and is derived from renewable energy without carbon emission. Hydrogen can be stored and used in fuel cells to generate electricity with heat as a byproduct that could be directed to heating or other applications. The Hong Kong SAR government is aiming at achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. I urge the administration to set up a task force to formulate hydrogen strategy as part of the measures to achieve carbon neutrality. Hong Kong needs zero carbon electricity generation, which I suggest that the administration should look for ways to import reliable and affordable green energy for Hong Kong across the border through regional collaboration. We should establish a regular communication mechanism with the relevant central ministries and the administrations of Guangdong Province and Macau to coordinate the implementation of carbon reduction initiatives in the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area, thereby matching the national target of achieving carbon neutrality before 2060. Time is really running short. The administration, the industry, the researchers, the professionals need to work hand in hand to cultivate a low carbon and resilient economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that today's forum will inspire ideas and discussion around the ways that we can make the world greener and smarter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Low. And now we are going to move to the 1 yuan carbon ceremony, offsetting ceremony. And okay, now may I invite Mr. Colin Tam to be the closing remark?
Engineer Dr. the Honorable W.K. Low, Colin, Sophia, distinguished speakers and guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to be invited to speak on hydrogen economy on the government's perspective. Yeah. Well, hydrogen, as you all know, is a fuel for tomorrow. Climate is changing, and the world is changing also. Just 2 years ago, President Xi made an announcement at the United Nations General Assembly that China will scale up its intended nationally determined contributions by adopting more vigorous policies and measures. We aim to have CO2 emissions peak before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality before 2060. As to Hong Kong, we also set a target to achieve carbon neutrality. Yeah, because Hong Kong is an international city of China, we aim to achieve carbon neutrality a bit earlier. Therefore, our target is to achieve carbon neutrality before 2050. Yeah. As to carbon peak, and because we have taken action to reduce carbon a little bit early, and therefore, actually, we achieved carbon peak around 2014. As compared to the peak, carbon emissions in this city has reduced by a quarter already, and therefore we set an interim target to reduce our carbon emissions by half before 2035. And that is our target. If we are going to achieve a carbon neutrality, then we need to look into the sources of carbon emissions in this city. Well, about 60% of the carbon comes from electricity generation. And of the electricity generation in Hong Kong, about 90% is consumed in buildings. Yeah. And apart from that, about 20% of the carbon comes from transport, all sorts of vehicles and ferries, etc. And some, 8 to 9% of the carbon comes from waste management. And if you do not understand why waste will emit carbon, it is because when those garbage and rubbish, when they buried in the landfills, it will decay and emit methane. And methane is a very strong greenhouse gas, and therefore Waste is also the third major carbon sources in Hong Kong. Well, in order to achieve carbon neutrality, the whole world is looking into whether hydrogen is an important tool. And why hydrogen? Well, hydrogen itself is actually not an energy source. If you're talking about energy, it has to be coming from either burning coal, oil, solar energy, wind energy, nuclear, or whatever. But hydrogen is an important energy carrier. It's because, we cannot rely solely on, say, for example, wind energy or solar energy. If we have wind, we have electricity. We have no wind, we have electricity. We don't have electricity, that's not acceptable. If you want to have stable electricity supply, you need to have very large storage system in order to stabilize the electricity supply if you rely solely on renewable energy. However, that scale of battery, we have all sorts of problems in terms of recycling, space, cost, energy loss, etc. And that's why hydrogen comes in as an efficient energy carrier, easy to transport, easy to use, and can be stored easily. Yeah. That's why the whole world is looking into it. Our country also released the first medium to long-term plan on the development of hydrogen energy. And in the policy address for this year, the chief executive also said that Hong Kong will test out hydrogen fuel cell electric buses and heavy vehicles in 2023 and formulate the long-term strategies for the application of hydrogen energy in road transport by 2025. Therefore, if you look at the various sources of carbon emissions in Hong Kong, that foot to the left, hydrogen can be used to generate electricity. Yes. Hydrogen can be used to support hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Yes. Yeah. And what about energy consumptions in buildings? Actually, hydrogen can also supply the buildings, and if you build a fuel cell in the buildings, you can have electricity generated within the building. We can have a distributed electricity system. That is also possible. Yeah. Now, what about waste? Waste can be used to manufacture hydrogen. Yeah. Therefore, the whole thing in the picture has an association with hydrogen. You may have a question. Mr. Jie, just a few days ago, we heard that there is a breakthrough in nuclear fusion energy. Will nuclear fusion be the future energy source and then hydrogen will go away? Not necessarily. As I've explained, hydrogen is an efficient energy carrier. Yeah, it can help to deliver energy and for application at different locations, etc. Even for very remote locations, you can use hydrogen. And therefore, I would bet that even when nuclear fusion become the main source of energy, hydrogen will still has its role in here. Nonetheless, in order to look into this important field and an important change in future, Mr. Low has asked for, actually, the government has set up an interdepartmental working group, look into the development of hydrogen energy in Hong Kong, how to use it, how to apply it, and is led by the Environment and Ecology Bureau. And the first task of the working group is to put up a trial of hydrogen fuel cell vehicles in the city next year. And that working group will look into how to set up the trial, how to develop the safety codes required, and look into a very important issue, whether hydrogen vehicles can go through tunnels, and what are the regulations required, etc. And also through the trial, so we can get accurate data about the cost and the benefits and the operational difficulties, maintenance required, etc. That will help us to map up a comprehensive strategy for wider use of hydrogen in Hong Kong. And therefore, based on that, we are now working on testing using hydrogen fuel cell vehicles for heavy vehicles. And why heavy vehicles? because for private car, we see that the technology is relatively comparatively mature. Yeah. As of today, half of the newly registered private cars are already electric vehicles. Yeah. We think it is probably not a good thing for us to build two separate infrastructure to support the electric and hydrogen private cars in Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is just a very small place. Yeah. But for heavy vehicle, it's different. For heavy vehicles, the technology of electric vehicle is not that mature, not as mature as for private cars. Yeah. The range of a heavy-duty electric vehicle is much shorter. And also, if the region, say for example, the Greater Bay Area, they set up hydrogen fuel cell, hydrogen stations to support the heavy-duty trucks, lorries, etc., then the cross-boundary trucks in Hong Kong, they have no choice. They have to switch to hydrogen. And therefore, in order to catch this change in the use of fuel in the region, Hong Kong will have to test whether hydrogen fuel cell vehicles is an acceptable, a good option for Hong Kong, so that in case the region will switch to hydrogen, Hong Kong will not lose out. And there are a lot of things for us to explore and develop. As I mentioned, hydrogen is an energy carrier. What is it possible for us to manufacture our own green hydrogen in Hong Kong? That is possible. And therefore, now we are working with different departments to promote renewable energy. For example, these floating solar panels in reservoirs, and also those solar panels on top of different structures, etc. Those electricity generated can be used to produce hydrogen. And that is worthy for consideration, particularly for, say, for example, a reservoir, which is far away from the urban center. If you have a large-scale solar panel there, you need to establish the cable system and also a transformer, etc., in order to use the electricity generated from that reservoir far, far away. That will be capital intensive. If we generate electricity on site using the electricity generated from the solar panel there, it will be a much more cost-effective and flexible solution. Therefore, we are going to explore the possibility of manufacturing green hydrogen using renewable also in Hong Kong. Nonetheless, hydrogen is a new thing. Yeah. Decarbonization based on hydrogen, of course, is a new topic. We need a lot of other innovations and developments, new technologies. Yeah. And therefore, the government has set up a 400 million Green Tech Fund. It provides funding support to research and development on various decarbonization technologies. Yeah. And the fund is supporting 5 hydrogen-related research projects on developing high-performance fuel cell and identifying new technology for green hydrogen production, also in Hong Kong. Yeah. Apart from the Green Tech Fund was supported by the government, the PolyU, they are developing ammonia fuel cell vehicle. Ammonia actually is a variation of hydrogen, because hydrogen, the storage and transportation, people consider to be very risky. And then if you transform hydrogen into ammonia, the transportation, delivery, and storage, the technical problem, it will be simpler. And the PolyU is looking into the technical aspect of ammonia fuel cell vehicle. And the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and they are developing high-performance fuel cell technology. And Hong Kong PC, Productivity Council, is also developing the high-efficient hydrogen fuel cell hybrid system. And all these researchers and development in Hong Kong are paving a way for us to go for develop the hydrogen economy, how to use hydrogen, and also the infrastructure required for us to support the use of hydrogen in Hong Kong. And we look forward to more such researchers and development by various parties, various institutions. Yeah. And I would say that the world is changing. We need to go for carbon neutrality, and all the technology infrastructure are changing. Yeah, in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, everything will be different. We need innovation. We need imagination. We need people's cooperation, and let us work together to prepare for the change in the world and to achieve carbon neutrality for Hong Kong. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jie. The Secretary of Environment and Ecological Bureau give us a very excellent speech to show how university, how the environmental industry and also the financial industry to work together to help Hong Kong to move forward to the carbon neutrality goal. So now let's move to the another section, the 1 yuan carbon sink certificate award ceremony. So this time to echo the theme of this Eco Expo, carbon neutrality, we are the first time to introduce a very special carbon forestry project to offset the whole emission for this forum. So although we have a sponsor from China Galaxy International to sponsor the carbon credit to offset this forum's carbon emission, we try a lot of effort to plan in advance to avoid the emission in first. And we also encourage the participant to try to prefer that to use the public transportation rather than driving their own private car to come to this stage. And we also host this forum like a hybrid mode. So like we are now here, have more than around 20 people. And we also have more than 5,000, right? 5,000 people online, full Xinang live, and also the Zoom live, so the people online. So this is a big event, but try to minimize our carbon emission. And also, this 1 yuan carbon sink is a very special carbon forestry project in Fujian province. We just help the government to bundle all the poverty people and also the household for their carbon forestry project into one. And so that is a 1 yuan carbon, in Chinese is 1 yuan tan hui, a very special project. So the price of this carbon project will be 10 RMB per kg. And this time, if anyone who want to offset your own carbon emission, you can just go to scan the QR code through the WeChat official account, 1 yuan tan hui, to offset yourself. For the companies and also like the organizing committee, we will buy this carbon credit to offset. And now may I invite the carbon credit sponsor, the representative of the China Galaxy International, Madam Chang Yu, on the stage to introduce China Galaxy. Thank you.
The Honorable Mr. Xie, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My best wishes to the 3rd Hydrogen Economy Forum. We are very honored to be one of the sponsors to help this forum to become carbon neutral. We uphold the nation's policies as we try to become sustainable, and Evan is the director for our R&D center, and we are also building different sectors for the whole value chain. We also have a branch collaborating and developing green finance in ASEAN countries. And we are also conducting researching. In 2021, we held the first global ESG forum. The Greater Bay Area is an important portal for the reform and opening up of China. The dual carbon task and the development of Hong Kong and Macau are very important to China, and Guangdong is also working on this area on carbon trade exchange, and cross-border carbon trade is an important task to materialize this plan. And we are also promoting this area to help internationalize the carbon trade market in China. And we are also making significant contributions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chang, Madam Chang. May I now invite Mr. Jie, Secretary of Environment and Ecology Bureau, on the stage? Yeah, please. Thank you. Okay. Take a. Let's have a photo. So, although we threw a lot of, the effort to avoid the emission, we still have 15 tons of the carbon emission this time. Okay, may I now invite the representative of the organizing committee, Professor Daniel Zhang, to the stage, and Mr. Jie to pass the certificate to the organizing committee. So this time, the neutralization of the whole forum have been completed by off-testing 15 tons of 1 yuan carbon sink. May I invite the three of the guests on the stage to take a group photo? Okay, Minister Kim. May I now, please stay on the stage. May I now invite other guests to the stage for a group photo. Minister Kim, Mr. Colin Tam, Ms. Sophie Zhong, Dr. Wan Yufeng, Mr. Samson Ng, Mr. Simon Au, Dr. Zhang Hanwei, Mr. Simon Ng, Mr. David Hu, and Professor Li Zhongming, Dr. Ken Leaf Leung, Mr. Mika Fiska, Madam Fu Bin, Mr. Dominic Ying, Mr. Dennis Wu, Mr. Louis Chan, Mr. Peter Ho, and Johnny Chong. Thanks for all your support to this forum. Thank you all. Please be seated. Now let's move to the part 2, forum speeches and panel discussion. The first speaker will be Dr. Wan Yufeng, partner, Temple Water, director of Bravo Transportation Service Limited. His speech will be Hydrogen Ecosystem in Hong Kong. Let's welcome.
大家好，我叫
Good afternoon. My name is Wan Yufeng. I'm a partner of Temple Water, Hong Kong. I'm also a director for Bravo Transport Services Limited. We are very honored to share with you some of our experience in hydrogen and our outlook in the future. Our briefly talked about Temple Water. Temple Water was Investec Hong Kong. Investec was originally established in South Africa. It was one of the biggest financial institute in Africa, and then we developed in Europe, in London. And I spent quite a lot of time in the UK. I was relocated to Hong Kong in 2018. In the second half of 2018, Investec worked with Cliff Zhang, who established Temple Water in Hong Kong, and in 2019 we also created a number of funds, and for private equity purchased a bus company in Hong Kong, and the city bus. For those of you from Hong Kong are familiar with city bus, because city bus is the largest bus operating in the island. In addition to buses on the island, we also run double-decker bus all over Hong Kong. Every day we have more than 1 million passengers. In October 2020, we purchased the bus company. At that time, the central government set out the goal to achieve carbon neutrality in 2016, and not long after that, Hong Kong government also announced that it aims to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. And so we are committed to helping the Chinese government to achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. And for us, cars and vehicles are very important. It helps the economic development, but is also an important source of carbon emission. We use cells, batteries for double-decker buses, because this is something that we are more familiar with. In 2021, in the second half of 2021, we introduced the first electronic bus in Hong Kong, and it's being operational, and we have been collecting a lot of data, so that on the one hand we could enhance the efficiency of EV bus. It could cope with passenger transportation, but in order for buses to become electronic, where when at full capacity the weight will be as heavy as 24 tons, and it should be operational for 16 hours, and the air conditioning should be very cold here in Hong Kong. And so there were a lot of limitations for the battery, and that's how we became interested in hydrogen. At the very beginning, we wanted to look for an existing product, and therefore we contacted a lot of suppliers, and we couldn't find any one that are compliant with the laws in Hong Kong. Double-decker bus are very common in London, and hydrogen bus have been running in London for almost a decade. However, buses in London, they don't have air conditioning. And buses in London only have 2 sets of wheels, and in Hong Kong, buses have 3 sets of wheels because roads in Hong Kong are narrower, and in order for buses to maneuver roads in Hong Kong, buses need to have 3 sets of wheels. And so we work with our suppliers to design and develop, which is why we were able to launch 3 sets of wheels of double-decker bus using hydrogen in Hong Kong. And this is not only a bus, because this bus is very, very significant for us to have a very strong foundation to research how hydrogen could be used in the future. I've put down some annotation on this graph because this is a very classical use case scenario. We can work with very outstanding suppliers to design a double-decker bus suitable for Hong Kong. We work with a number of suppliers, and the battery was designed by a Canadian company, and the accelerator was designed by a German company, and the bus was designed and manufactured by a Chinese company. And so this is the model that we use to design this and make this bus, and we will continue to use this model to produce buses that are suitable to be used here in Hong Kong. So battery, hydrogen bus. The most challenging part of this is to have an infrastructure, and we need to work with different stakeholders, and we need to complement each other on the value chain. And so we should utilize the best technologies available in China and outside of China, and to create a prototype suitable for Hong Kong. Hong Kong is very unique because of the land value in Hong Kong, the population density in Hong Kong, and also the rules and regulations in Hong Kong. And therefore, it is important for us to identify some of the technologies available. And so for hydrogen production, power generation is being decarbonized now, and so it is important for us to utilize different sources. And town gas is also an important player here in Hong Kong. And hydrogen accounts for 49% of gas. And Mr. Zhe also mentioned that we could use solid waste to produce hydrogen. And liquid hydrogen and different types of hydrogen. How do we store hydrogen is an area that we need to talk about. And so there is no one single company that could complete everything that I've mentioned, and therefore collaboration is key. And collaborating on what? Number one, on creating this industrial value chain. That's one part. And number two is to advance technology with research and development institutes as well as the government. We also need to work with the government. And so our goal is to integrate global technologies, whether it's from China or from outside of China, to create products that is suitable for Hong Kong. Because Hong Kong has its unique population density, climate, weather, and government requirements, and therefore it is important for us to work with the government. The government could provide guidelines, and we also need to work with academic institutes, research institutes, and therefore it is important for us to learn the best technologies available and explore technologies that are suitable in Hong Kong. Some technologies may be suitable in areas that are very different from Hong Kong, and therefore it is important for us to conduct experiments to identify most suitable technologies. And once we identify these technologies that is suitable for Hong Kong, then we could deploy this technology in Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong is the best testing ground. And as we look forward to materializing China's goal to become carbon neutral by 2060, Hong Kong may not play a very important role because Hong Kong is relatively small. However, we could conduct experiments, we can do trials, we can do tests. If we could identify technologies suitable for Hong Kong, these experiences could help inform the decision making in China as well as cities around Asia. So this is what Hong Kong could do. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ban. It's a wonderful speech to echo to Mr. Jazz, the highlight, the collaboration. So let's now move to the second speaker, Dr. Zhang Weidong. He will deliver his speech online via Zoom. His topic is UNDP facilitates China's hydrogen economy in the making. Dr. Zhang Weidong is the Program Director of Sustainable United Nations Development Program in China. So time pass to Mr. Zhang Weidong.
Hello, can I proceed? Just like that? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. I'm sure that the previous speakers has been pointing out all the importance of having hydrogen economy and the reasons and all the background information. I will not repeat that, but that would be really the whole point of today's forum, really to raise the awareness of the importance of hydrogen economy as well as how to achieve the hydrogen economy and so on. But I'm going to ask you, all of you in the conference room, and all of us, online, and those who will be not attending the forum, what really Hong Kong can do to, or join in the hydrogen economy in the making. And that's something that we need to really think about ourselves, how we should be able to contribute to the hydrogen economy in the making. There are many different ways that Hong Kong can participate and people can participate. And I want to inform you that UNDP China is the only UN agencies has been working with the government of China, especially with Ministry of Science and Technology, since 2003. We've been really shaping the hydrogen economy by remove the barriers for the lack of technologies, and number one, number two, and then bring barriers, lack of capacities, and then then remove the barriers that really affecting the environment, which means the policy of an ecosystem and so on, and also how we could remove the barriers for the human resources, particularly those skillful technicians and the workers that will be able to provide jobs in the hydrogen economy. And all these barriers has been removed in our last almost 20 years work with Ministry of Science and Technology. And we've been able to demonstrate that the technology of hydrogen fuel cell works starting with vehicles, and that we have been able to demonstrate in at least 7 different cities: Beijing, Shanghai, Zhengzhou, Foshan, Yancheng, Changshu, and Zhangjiakou, taking advantage of the Summer Olympic in 2008 and World Expo in 2010, as well as the Winter Olympic Game, in which we've been able to demonstrate that fuel cell buses and including passenger vehicles are workable, and we really can achieve zero emission transport in bringing in this international important events like that. And we've been able to showcase that commercialization of hydrogen fuel cell technologies can be achieved by these almost 20 years achievement in what we have been doing in this 7 pilot program. Plus, we've been able to in partnership with manufacturers in each of the cities above. And each of you, I'm sure you have been informed of that these cities I mentioned previously have been leading the fuel cell pilot demonstration program across China. And all these major cities like Foshan leading the Greater Bay areas and Hong Kong, Macau, and the areas, and also you see the one in Shanghai leading the Yangtze River Delta region, and well as in Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei in areas, and also the one leading in Hebei province as well. All these 5 different pilot programs that have been supported with the Ministry of Finance is to showcase that fuel cell vehicles are able to be applied in a larger scale. And then we'd be happy to see infrastructure now, as well as like other resources have been really provided to make this large-scale application. of the fuel cell vehicle, as well as other applications in different scenarios. And this is, I think, and in such a context, I think Hong Kong can also be able to contribute to the hydrogen economy in the making by, showcasing public transport in Hong Kong in such a crowded and densely populated area that air quality is very much of importance. If we could start with applying fuel cell buses and then passenger vehicles, that would be really helpful to improve the air quality, not alone talking about saving CO2 and other benefit that really good for the global environment and climate change as a whole. There are also possibilities that Hong Kong could, start thinking of basing on its own natural resources that, Hong Kong, the limited areas you have. For example, you have, what we call renewable energy, like the wind with mini turbines and solars, and those we can really involve making renewable energies for electrolyzation, for hydrogen production as well. Of course, there are other unique resources that no other urban areas or big mega cities may have as Hong Kong does, which is municipal solid waste as well as sewage, which can be made into very renewable sources for hydrogen generation, and that really can be a renewable source of hydrogen. And this is a point that I want to raise, that this is going to be one of the potential feedstock that you could apply, because we all know, as there always been a NIMBY effect of dealing with municipal solid waste. But this, if we could have this kind of technology applied, that really be considered no more as hazard, but as resources and feedstock for a renewable hydrogen generation. And there are other areas also, a scenario that Hong Kong could lead the country in showcasing the support or a contribution to the hydrogen in the making would be in the passenger boat. In Hong Kong, there are frequent passenger vehicles, and there are very expensive ones and all that. But given the financial resources, which is the financial resource center of the world, it should lead this type of innovation, that applying fuel cell vehicle into passenger boat. And this is something that is always been our key areas that we UNDP could work with Hong Kong in the future. So this is the few areas that really Hong Kong could think of course. But at the same time, there will be also areas that we could think of, will be the TVET, technical vocational education and training, that we call TVET. And this is an area that Hong Kong youth, the young people, could contribute as well by joining in this training and exercise, so that the entire population, not only in Hong Kong, but elsewhere in the Greater Bay Area and across China, that could be really joining in the future work by really promoting the transition from business as usual into a future work type of opportunities. And this will really help our greener recovery from the COVID and other things. And this will be a few things that we could talk about in further detail once we'll be able to meet in face-to-face and so on. That will be my first point, that how what Hong Kong can do to contribute to the hydrogen economy in the making. The first one. Second, people always talking about what we can do now, but forgetting what really something that basically you could also start with what you already have. You don't have to have wait until you have all the fuel cell vehicles in place, you have all the facility in place, but you could start with what you have already. Don't wait until take late actions. My point would be, for example, in your transit, I mean, in your urban commuting services, there are so many fossil fuel powered public buses, and these buses, if you want to replace it with 100% fuel cell powered vehicles, that would take some years. We cannot wait so many years before we can take action. There are some good news for all of us is to take transitional actions by adopting a new, very innovative technology that add using hydrogen into the existing internal combustion engine, ICE engines. And UNDP has been introducing this technology from overseas, and we did a trial test before the COVID started in 2019, and it's proven it works. And if we could really think of adopting this kind of innovative technology, we might see already with almost no refrigeration and no, let's say, any modification to the engine, we could start already saving 30% of fuel and 45% of emissions from a business as usual fossil fuel engine. If we could apply this technology, think about this something that we can do. And we don't have to wait till we have all the resources or all the technologies in place. This is something we could already think of. So I really want to make you aware that there are transitional technologies we could apply so that we could really contribute to the hydrogen in the making. Don't have to wait till we have everything. And our entire global environment and cannot afford to have us all waiting before we can take actions. This is a second one. The third point, I would say how we could, how Hong Kong could, proceed taking actions by partnering with agencies, and with whom you're going to do that. I would suggest that we, as UNDP, been working in China for almost 20 years in promoting hydrogen economy, and I would be your partner of choice so that we could really bring in all the existing technologies that really help us to make this difference. And while we don't have to wait till everything we have. And we would be able to work together to showcase how a urban mega city can lead the world by doing something different. By making such a difference, we could really showcase really our contribution in addressing the climate change. Of course, every city, big and small, has its own sustainable development goals, as we've been promoting since 2015. The sustainable development goals, all the 17 goals, having all the social, economic, and environment aspect each city could have, and how we could make Hong Kong comparing to the 17 goals, how we showcase Hong Kong could lead the mega city in making such a thing localized. All the 17 sustainable development goals could be localized in Hong Kong, making Hong Kong a livable and a net zero city. And there are all possibilities, and we could be able to make the Hong Kong accountable, make all livable, and also sustainable. And with this, I will not further delay my talk with you, and I'm looking forward to having further discussion with you and so on. And wish you as well the same best wishes before the new year comes, and stay healthy. Thank you so much. Excuse me for not being able to run through the PPTs I share with the organizer, and you may have also access to that already afterwards. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zhang. It's an amazing talk that from UN speech, and also he highlighted that we need to take action now. So let's now invite the next speaker, Mr. Simon Oh, on the stage to deliver what Hong Kong is doing now. So he is from head of engineering, Hong Kong Utility, the Hong Kong and China Gas Company. His topic is Town Gas Hydrogen, Back to Future. Thank you, Mr. Oh.
Okay. I only got 15 minutes. I got to be quick. Otherwise, Colin will give me a red card. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to speak in this prestigious forum. Well, to be honest, this is probably the third time in a month that I present the same subject on stage. I'm sort of getting a little bit bored. Just kidding, you know, hydrogen is never a boring subject. Okay, as a start, a brief introduction of myself. My name is Simon Ngo, or Simon NGO. You know, my colleagues always tease at me and he said, you know, Simon, you are probably the best person of the company to speak on this hydrogen subject. I asked them why. Well, they smiled and said, you know, this subject will attract the attention of a lot of NGO. I believe there's a lot of NGO in this hall today. Well, and they said, look at your surname, you're already an NGO. So what a coincidence. But now at least you know that the town gas system in Hong Kong is managed by an NGO. Thank you very much. Okay. Town gas at a glance first. The full name of our company is Hong Kong and China Gas Company Limited. We were established in 1862. In other words, we are now 160 years old. One of the unique features of town gas is that we are still supplying manufactured town gas, one of the very few in the world. Well, indeed, as far as I know, us and City Gas of Singapore are probably the only two in the world which are still supplying manufactured town gas at such a scale. We have two production plants, one at Tai Po and one at Matukok Kowloon. At present, the supply mainly comes from our Tai Po plant. We have around 3,700 kilometers of network, reaching virtually every part of Hong Kong. And we have around 2 million gas customers. Assuming a family size of 2.5 members per customer, then every day around 5 million of people enjoying town gas in Hong Kong. You know, I always like to use these three pictures to describe the past, present, and future scenarios of town gas. At the left, I use a picture in gray. That is a picture taken around 1.5 centuries ago. Well, our company was founded in 1862. Our first plant was built in West Point. At that time, the only feedstock we use is coal, C-O-A-L, coal. We all know the carbon intensity of coal. We were in a deep gray industry. In the middle, I use a picture in a blue frame. You know, after years of effort, we have introduced a lot of improvement measures to turn ourselves greener and greener. I will go through the key milestone along our green journey later, briefly. So I use the color gray. Although we are still far away from totally green, but our effort has paid dividends. On the right, inside the green frame are two pictures, which is our vision for the future. On the top is a picture of our pilot hydrogen extraction facilities at Tai Po. I will talk about that later as well. At the bottom is a picture of our solar panel installation in mainland China. Diversifying into the solar energy business will be one of our major focus in the years to come. Now we have over 300 energy-related JVs in different cities of China. In the industrial zone of these cities, the enormous area of the rooftop of those factories provide just a perfect environment for us for our diversification into the solar energy business. This year we plan to do 1 gigawatt, and next year we hope we can reach 3 gigawatt, and a year later 5 gigawatt. We hope that through this business direction, we can turn ourselves greener and greener for ourselves, for our customer, and for the globe. Okay, let's briefly go through some of the major milestones of TAN gas. As said, we were established in 1862. We are 160 years old now. At that time, the only feedstock we use is coal. We are in a deep gray industry. In 1967, our gas production had moved to Martel Court of Kowloon. When we first built our plant there, we were in the middle of nowhere. But as the city developed, more and more residential buildings enclosed our sites. So in 1967, the company made a big decision to completely replace our feedstock from coal to oil and dramatically reduce our carbon footprint. In other words, since 1967, TAN Gas has become a gas supply company which do not use a single piece of coal. A few years later, in 1973, we went one step further to completely replace our feedstock from oil to a clean feedstock, naphtha, a C5 clean oil product, and further step down our carbon footprint. 1986 is a big year because we have a Tai Po plant commission. With the latest gas production technology and a more efficient gas production process, we were able to bring our carbon footprint further down. 1994 is a memorable year because we start to have a footprint in our country. Our first JV was established in Pengyu, in the Pearl River Delta. Today, we have over 300 gas JVs in China. In the past 3 decades, we have helped to dramatically improve the safety, quality, environmental friendliness, and customer service of the gas industry in our country. 1999 is another breakthrough because we start to use landfill gas as feedstock for gas production. It is a closed landfill at Xunwan, not far away from a Tai Po gas plant. And we built a treatment plant there and then 1.2 kilometer of pipeline to bring the landfill gas back to our plant as a feedstock for gas production. 2006 is a big year because natural gas has arrived at Tai Po and become the major feedstock of our gas production, which has helped to dramatically bring the carbon footprint down. And the Xunwan landfill I just mentioned is a small one, but it was a breakthrough. But in 2007, we went one step further by acquiring the landfill gas from a big landfill site, the Northeast New Terrace landfill. Again, just like Xunwan, we built a treatment plant there and a 90 kilometer of pipeline to bring the landfill gas back to Tai Po as a feedstock for gas production. In 2017, we went one step further by acquiring the landfill gas from another big landfill site, Sen, Southeast New Territories. This one is a bit different because Sen is too far away from Tai Po production plant. We cannot send the gas back to Tai Po as feedstock for gas production. Therefore, our engineers design and build a treatment plant to refine the gas to right quality and then directly inject it into the TAN gas stream for customers' use. As you can see from this green journey, from time to time, TAN gas has been seeking every opportunity to turn ourselves greener and greener for ourselves, for Hong Kong, and even for our country. So what is the fuel mix of TAN gas now? At present, 60% of the feedstock come from natural gas. For the remains, around 39% is naphtha, and we have around 1% of landfill gas. We estimated since we entered into the natural gas and landfill gas era, we have dramatically reduced our carbon emission by over 23%. And indeed, the carbon emission of our production plant is only around 1% of Hong Kong's total carbon emission. Okay, so much about the green journey of TAN gas. Back to the main theme. In our country, we have this slogan, 30-60, i.e. Peak carbon emission by 2030 and carbon neutrality by 2060. In Hong Kong, the government has announced in the Climate Action Plan that our target for carbon neutrality is 2050. And in Environmental Protection Department's Clean Air Plan, it is announced that we will put into trial hydrogen fuel cell bus by 2023. And an interdepartmental working group has been established to facilitate these hydrogen projects. But what is it for TAN gas? What's the big deal to TAN gas? Looking at this pie chart, you can see that there's an awful lot of deal to us. Because our gas comprises some 50% of hydrogen. Tank gas comprises some 46.3 to 51.8% hydrogen, 28.2 to 30.7% methane, 16.3 to 19.9. Well, very difficult to remember. So I always advise my colleagues to remember just three figures. 532. 532. Very easy to remember, isn't it? Tank gas comprises approximately 5 portions of hydrogen, 3 portions of methane, and 2 portions of carbon dioxide. But here I also like you to remember at the bottom, we also have minor traces of carbon monoxide and oxygen. Remember that. I'll tell you why later. So the notion is that as far as we have 50%, we already have 50% of hydrogen in the gas, why can't we just separate out from our network for customers' use? To this end, we believe that we have 5 strengths. First of all, we already have 50% of hydrogen in our gas. And secondly, I think most importantly, we have a 3,700 kilometer comprehensive network, reaching virtually every part of the territory. So actually, we can consider to spin out the hydrogen anywhere in our network for customers' use. Unlike this Cantonese description, 即叫即蒸. If you want it, 即叫即蒸. In English means in a restaurant, you want it, I immediately cook for you, in situ, instantly. No need for storage of a large volume of high-pressure hydrogen cylinders. And no need for transportation of a large amount of hydrogen cylinders on the roads, on the busy road of Hong Kong. And we also have 2 production, thirdly, we have 2 production plants supplementing each other, providing a non-stop and reliable gas supply. And fourthly, we have 160 years of engineering experience dealing with hydrogen-rich gas. And last but not least, we have an excellent safety record. Our plan is to use a rotary pressure absorption equipment to separate hydrogen out, pure hydrogen out for customers' use. And separate hydrogen can then be used fuel cell power generation, mobile transportation, etc. The absorbent is basically a combination of alumina, silicon, activated carbon. They will screen out the other components so that pure hydrogen can be separated out for customers' use. This is a picture of a pilot establishment in a Taipo plant. Actually, PSA, pressure swing absorption, is not new, but ours is a rotary type. The reason being that we want to reduce the footprint because you know space is precious in Hong Kong. And we have tested out and confirmed that the purity of the hydrogen separator can reach 99.97%, reaching the ISO requirement for fuel cell application. So you may ask, after separating out the hydrogen, the gas quality will be changed. How do you deal with the residue gas? There are basically 3 ways to deal with the residue gas. First of all, after dilute to the right quality and the right CV, we can inject them back to the tank gas stream. We estimate it at a prescribed ratio, which is typically 4 to 1, 4 portions of tank gas and 1 portion of residue gas. There is no change of the burning characteristic, i.e. it's transparent to the downstream customer. Or we can consider in situ gas application, use the residue gas for CHP boilers, etc. And lastly, we can even consider to install a small steam methane reformer to further crack down the residue gas to form more hydrogen for the customers. Then how about the downstream application? Actually, we have received a lot of interest from potential customers. At present, our focus is on buses and heavy cargo trucks. You know they burn a lot of diesel, which is of very high carbon intensity. In the meantime, we have also received interest from other potential customers, including train, marine transportation, and power generation, etc. There are concerns on the safety of distributing hydrogen or hydrogen-rich in pipeline. Indeed, in the past few years, I have received numerous inquiries from friends in the gas industry in the world, inquiring our experience of dealing with distribution of hydrogen gas or hydrogen-rich gas. Well, they were astonished when they know that our gas comprise 50% of hydrogen. The simple answer I gave them is that no problem, no issue at all in the past 160 years of experience. One of the major concerns is hydrogen embrittlement. Tankers really appreciate its concern. Therefore, the steel pipe we select are of very high fracture toughness. Indeed, according to the International Hydrogen Pilot Standard, the maximum grade of steel used should not be more than X52. Tanker steel pipeline never go beyond this grade, and indeed the majority of steel pipeline are of grade X42 only. The standard also prescribed the CVN, Charpy Knots number, which is an indication of the fracture toughness, should not be less than 27 joule. Tanker standard is much more stringent. Our requirement is 150 joule. We also prescribe that our operating stress should not be more than 30% of the specified minimum yield strength. In other words, the safety factor is 1/30%, which is around 3.3. And there's an interesting phenomenon called preferential absorption, which states that if you have a bit of carbon monoxide or oxygen in your gas, you can help to deter hydrogen embrittlement. If you remember the pie chart I showed you earlier, this is exactly what we got in tank gas. Indeed, we have harvested a lot of old pipes from the field and tested them out and confirmed that they are perfectly all right. There are also concerns on the inherent hydrogen risk because of hydrogen's broad flammability range, low minimum ignition energy, and relative high flame speed. I would say yes, these are all true. But don't forget, hydrogen is also the lightest gas. It's very easy to dissipate instead of accumulating in a confined space, making it even safer than other gases in this respect. So in a nutshell, well, the excellent safety track record of tank gas in the past 160 years speaks for it. So what is the outlook on green hydrogen? We think that green hydrogen is good. In fact, our wish is that in future, when green hydrogen arrives, we can consider to inject and blend it at upstream instead of producing tank gas by steam methane reforming. But now we have three barriers: limited supply, transportation, in particular long-haul transportation, and the cost of hydrogen is very high. But we believe that as technology advances and with the advent of carbon trading and carbon tax, the relative cost of hydrogen will be gradually driven down. Okay, I will just go to the last slide. Targets now to accomplish our wish for green hydrogen, as well as our other vision on future energy. Tangas is now collaborating with university and research institute to explore for a greener future. We have four major focus: renewable energy, carbon capture, hydrogen technology, battery and energy storage. In Shenzhen, we have set up our own research center. And in Hong Kong, we have established the Tangas Energy Academy, under which we work closely with the local university, including Hong Kong UST, CityU, etc., on research partnership. On a bit promotion on Terra Award on the right. This year is the second year we organized the Terra Award. This is a prestigious award, offering a prize money of US $1 million for the champion, and 100,000 for the first runner-up, 50,000 for the second runner-up. Pretty attractive, isn't it? Our objective is to encourage research projects on future energy, especially those with proof of concept and commercial potential. Indeed, for those winning projects, Tangas even consider investing in them. The award is open to researchers in the world, everywhere in the world. Last year, we have received over 200 applications, and the winner was a Chinese research project on photocatalytic production of methanol. And the first runners-up is a US research project on AEM, anion exchange membrane. Unfortunately, the deadline for application this year has expired. But if you are interested in this award, we welcome your application next year. So researchers in this room and researchers online, come next year, get your US $1 million prize money. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon. Let's welcome next speaker, Mr. Zhong Hong, to deliver a speech online. He's a business development director, and his topic will be hydrogen transportation and storage system. Although Simon tells us that Tangas have a very strong network that provides 即叫即正, we still need the transportations and also like the storage system. So let's start.
尊敬的各位线上线下的嘉宾，大家好。
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John. I'm very happy to be invited to participate in this forum. I'm going to talk about hydrogen transportation and storage system. Hydrogen is very important, and green transportation is also very important. We could see that most countries are green, light green, or yellow. These colors representing the different stages of development. And hydrogen is very, very important because it has many outstanding attributes. Japan, the US, and the EU, they have hydrogen strategies. Some 29 different countries have earmarked hydrogen as an important strategic goal. And they are either legislating or they have already legislated to develop hydrogen. And so they are represented by light green. And with the support of policies, the infrastructure of hydrogen is being built. The peaking and also carbon neutrality are important issues for the utilization of hydrogen, and hydrogen plays a very important role in the realization of carbon neutrality by 2021. Energy sector peaked. Transportation accounts for more than 7%. And carbon dioxide emission has been decreasing in Hong Kong. Marine transportation and road transportation accounts for more than 30% of carbon emission, and this is because of the use of EVs. And so we have overcome the carbon reduction for transportation, and I'm sure hydrogen vehicles will play a very important role in the future. Hydrogen vehicles is going to play an important role in the realization of the hydrogen economy. And we also need to work with the upstream and also work with the source of energies. And China has also actively promoting the utilization of hydrogen vehicles. Bus accounts for 25%, and trucks and heavy-duty trucks. And in China, we also have different charging stations. Some of the businesses are also actively working on this area. And I will talk about it briefly now because of the utilization of this use, and because of the policies in China, we are getting rid of old models. We anticipate that next 5 to 10 years, hydrogen vehicles will play a very important role, and it will be an important part for the realization of our goals. and the selling prices of hydrogen vehicles will be even lower than diesel vehicles. And we believe that the growth of hydrogen vehicles will explode. Charging is much faster than electronic vehicles, and it is also suitable for heavy-duty use, and therefore for long haul is very suitable, more suitable than EVs. And we could also cut down on carbon dioxide. And therefore it plays a very important role in carbon reduction. And so we have been preparing for this, and so I would talk about how we could contribute to the development of hydrogen vehicles. CIMC is listed in Hong Kong. We were founded in 1980 and our headquarters in Shenzhen. So we started with our containers, and after developing for 40 years, we have diversified out of container industry. We operate airports, we have smart parking, marine transportation, finance, and we own more than 300 different companies out of the world. We also have 2 listed companies, and they are both listed in Hong Kong and in China. Our business is over the world in more than 100 different countries. $38.99 is also listed in Hong Kong. Petrochemical and energy. And it's been in business for 15 years. It has been focusing on storage. So we've been working, for instance, containers for beer, and in this area we have been working on hydrogen. We also founded a hydrogen company, CIMC Hydrogen Energy. We are a carrier. We also have 2 subsidiaries and 5 JVs, and for the past 15 to 16 years, we have been upgrading our products, and we participated in the World Export and also the Winter Olympics. People could see our products, our vehicles, and we've been working for 16 years, and our products have been developing rapidly, and we have been replacing our products and upgrading our technology, and we also diversify into different areas. And therefore we've been very agile and flexible, and we create products that are suitable for different use scenarios. And so I will go into details later on, but I like to stress the fact that we've been meeting the needs of the market, and we worked with our Norwegian partner in 2021 and founded a manufacturing plant in mainland China. Technologies are very important, and safety is the utmost importance for us. And therefore we have a lot of patents, and we also have been recognized by international institutes for our safety records. And so we are fully integrated from upstream to midstream to downstream, from production of hydrogen to transportation of hydrogen to storage of hydrogen to the application of hydrogen. We are involved in every single parts. And we are also able to integrate the different resources within our group. We also help our partners to develop the low-stream industries. For instance, in logistics at the airport, logistics at container terminals. So we have two manufacturers. We also have transmission, high pressure transmission, and we also have storage and trucking. They are in Anhui, Hebei provinces, and this is high pressure storage, 99 kilowatt. This is high pressure trucking, and the containers are suitable for road transportation and marine transportation. And so we are very prepared for the future. And this is the liquid storage. We're providing hydrogen for civil aviation. So this is a gas station where we provide gasoline, petroleum, and hydrogen, and of course electricity. And we have had breakthroughs in a number of key technologies. And some of the technologies were implemented in China for the first time, and these were all initiated by us. So this is a charging station. And we could charge hydrogen within 2 minutes, and this is being tested in Foshan. So these are some of the applications, pipelines, etc. So these hydrogen vehicles could be used. So they are not as heavy. They could be used in different scenarios, and some of the major players are also using our vehicles, hydrogen vehicles, for transportation purposes. So we are working closely with different industries and sectors to explore the application use scenario for hydrogen. We are also working very hard to increase the awareness of the public about hydrogen. We have a cluster in the Yangtze River Delta area and also a cluster in the Pearl River Delta area. Altogether, we have 5 clusters area all over China. We study rules and regulations and the economy of the use of hydrogen. And we believe that even though there are a number of barriers, we are confident that we will be able to overcome these barriers. This is a generator, 70 gigawatt. And this is very efficient, and we also cut down on the operational costs. This is a hydrogen bus. Those of you from Hong Kong may have written on it. Is being used and operational in Hong Kong. We are working with a producer to come up with a new model. These buses are excellent for Hong Kong and will make contribution to this air pollution in Hong Kong. We always work with our partners. For instance, light rail, garbage truck, and the retrofitting of traditional vehicles. We are also working with our partners in Malaysia and Australia. This truck was designed by our partner in Australia. This is in Southeast Asia. Light rail. We call it hydrogen rail. For some of the pain points of urban areas. We are also working with our company subsidiary to come up with facilities for smart transportation. This is a parking area. When they are parked, recharging will take place simultaneously. We are also exploring the possibility of utilizing hydrogen for marine transportation. We are also trying to integrate hydrogen in the different subsidiaries of our group. For instance, the storage of energy, so they are very popular, whether it's in Hong Kong or in China. So our vision is to create hydrogen cities. We hope that in the future, hydrogen will be used.
Thank you so much, John, for giving us a lot of showcase in hydrogen application in all the transportation, like on the road, on the ocean. And next time, look forward for your sharing on the sky. Now, next, welcome the next speaker, Dr. Zhang Hanwei, CTO and Dean of Research Institute, Grand Blue Environmental Company Limited, on the stage. His speech is Waste to Hydrogen, to show us how to supply hydrogen in a green way. Thank you.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Now I'm talking a little bit about waste to hydrogen. It's pretty new terminology. I guess probably it's derived from waste to energy. But hopefully everywhere we're gonna use the same terminology, unlike waste to energy. Somewhere like in Europe, people call it energy from waste. In some Asian countries, people call it as incineration. It's pretty bad, negative word. Now this, I would say, waste to hydrogen together with waste to methanol becomes a very popular word or the direction in the solid waste industry. Some of the engineers think this is going to be a future of the solid waste treatment. I don't want to waste the time to convince everyone that the hydrogen from the waste is green hydrogen. Actually, there are a number of the articles and research reports that did a very good job on this by life cycle analysis or the carbon footprint calculation. The key factor here is the percentage of the carbon from the biomass other than fossil fuel in the total carbon of solid waste stream. Honestly, I have to put some words or put some more colors to my current employer, Grand Blue. Here is the headquarters of this company located in Foshan, Guangdong. A public company listed in Shanghai stock. I think the top three shareholders are government, local government, and state-owned companies. The majority of the revenue is from the solid waste treatment. And most of these solid waste treatment facilities are located in the developed areas like Guangdong, Fujian, Shandong, Jiangsu. The Grand Blue's solid waste business covers most of the waste streams, like municipal solid waste, sludge, industry waste, medical waste, kitchen waste, etc. As well as all kinds of services like waste collection, waste transportation, and the final treatment like waste to energy. Within this vertical and horizontal integration metrics, there are strong, I would say, synergy that really bring down the total cost of the waste treatment. For instance, the sludge can be dried by the low-quality steam from the hazardous waste incineration, and the dried sludge could be sent to the waste-to-energy furnace and to generate the new energy, a little bit higher quality. So this type of synergy has been already demonstrated in the Nanhai solid waste park over years. I think it is also a good. Let me show you here. This picture shows this. This is a pretty good showcase for the whole industry. I mean the solid waste industry. Let's talk about a little bit on the Foshan. Actually, people mentioned the Foshan quite a few times before me. I think Foshan was listed as one of the first four cities to demonstrate the hydrogen energy in 2014. Up to now, there are so many commercial companies and research labs around Foshan area. Grand Blue is one of them as a kind of a major solid waste treatment company. Grand Blue focuses on three parts or the steps for this hydrogen industry chain. Number one is production, hydrogen production, but we only work on the waste to hydrogen, not the other method. Number two, I will talk later on. Number two is gas refueling. Grand Blue has 5 hydrogen stations. The capacity is up to at least 4 metric tons per day. And also this year, Grand Blue bought 54 hydrogen-powered sanitation vehicles. Actually, at Grand Blue, we work on 3 processes for the waste to hydrogen at a different stage. The first one is we call the kitchen waste to hydrogen. Basically, kitchen waste through the anaerobic digestion generate biogas, which contains about 65% methane, and this methane can be washed and also separate by PSA, and then use a traditional reforming process converted into the hydrogen. Now, in our research institute is still working to increase the concentration of the methane in the biogas from 65% to 75% to really lower down the cost of the hydrogen generation or production. The scale of this is 1,000 tons per year. The stage is still, this project is still under construction. The second one is a little bit small, but it's from different waste stream. It's a kind of organic waste. It's aluminum dross, which actually was classified as a hazardous waste a couple of years ago. We use this as raw materials to generate multiple products. Hydrogen is one of them. But the scale, I mean, the capacity is relatively low. But these projects are already in operation. This here is a process flow diagram. It's a little bit complicated, but they basically just use the alumina carbide, alumina nitride within alumina dross, convert into to generate hydrogen, methane, and ammonia. By simply absorb ammonia by water, then we can get oxygen-rich gas, and use a similar process to refine and purify this this gas stream. The beauty of this process is really we convert most of materials, matters, into the useful products, like the hydrogen. We know ammonia we can use into our SNSR or SCR system to reduce NOx. And we generate good quality of the raw materials for the ceramic industry. Any leftover is a little bit salt, but we still want to fully 100% use these raw materials. This really demonstrates the beauty of the chemistry. The last one, actually, now we're working with Hong Kong company, Under Waste, for the large amount of the waste to hydrogen. But before we talk about the detail, we want to mention the one thing is the solid waste gasification. I remember some of them also put on this in his slides. The gasification has two types of gasification. One is use the air and to generate a low quality syngas. Then coupling with the gasification, we directly combust this type of low quality syngas. It's kind of, some people call it staging combustion. But on the other hand, this is a kind of good way to improve emission. The second one, actually, that's our folks. Oxygen and the high quality energy, like plasma, injected into a system, we can get the high quality syngas. Then through the kind of purification and the traditional chemical engineering process, we can get the hydrogen. Even we can further get the really methane, this kind of high value products. The planned project is going to be 400 tons per day material waste. We can generate 10,000. More than 10,000 metric tons per year. That's a large project. The reason why we use industry waste or commercial waste is because these waste streams is pretty much with a higher heating value and a lower ash content and moisture content. So we can generate a better production efficiency. always talk about the cost. Here we comparing with different hydrogen production processes. As you can see at the bottom of 3.1, the hydrogen generated from the all kinds of, the organic or inorganic waste streams can really have a little bit advantage over the other method, except the byproduct. So what are the values of the waste to hydrogen to us, to everybody, actually not to only Grand Blue? I think number one is the lower cost, as shown in the previous slide. I believe that by the good process design and the synergy with the other process of the waste treatment, the all kinds of waste stream can be used to generate a lower cost hydrogen. Number two, I think, is a kind of waste treatment upgrade. Since we think this one gonna be this process will help us to upgrade the current waste treatment method. Instead of the energy, we generate more the higher value product, which will also help the emission control. Number three, I think is carbon emission reduction. Especially this whole process normally separate carbon dioxide from the hydrogen. It's already capture, I would say capture carbon dioxide. So it's easy to get the CCUS coupling with the all kinds of process. Really can significantly reduce the carbon dioxide emission. That's all I thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zhang. I'm glad to say I very like your company's logo, a Grand Blue company generating green hydrogen. So let's welcome the next speaker, Mr. David Hu, Director of SGS Hong Kong Limited. His speech will be hydrogen quality and safety. Thank you.
大家好，大家好。
Good afternoon. I am the last speaker, so you can wake up. We talked about upline and technology and also low streams. Safety is key. So our value chain collaborates a lot, and let me briefly talk about our company first. We are from Switzerland. Switzerland is a neutral company, and we focus on certification, testing. We have more than 100,000 employees around the world. We have 15 different lines of business all over the world. We are headquartered in Geneva. We were founded in Lyon in France, and then we moved to Switzerland. And we have branches all over the world. And in the Greater Bay Area. In 1959, we came to Hong Kong. We have close relationship with all of you. We went to mainland China in 1991. We have 16,000 employees in this area, and in Hong Kong we have 12,000. For hydrogen energy, hydrogen is one of our key areas as we are involved in different renewable energies. And in 2007, we evaluated the feasibility of a hydrogen facility in Australia, and then in 2020 we set up a international collaboration consortium, and we also became a member of Hydrogen Europe in 2022. Hydrogen has attracted a lot of attention, especially in Hong Kong. Many thanks to the government's policy support and also the industry support. And I would like to call on the Hong Kong government to provide financial support, because as Dr. Wan also mentioned in his presentation, that the United States has provided significant financial support. The government of the United States has also been providing significant financial support. And in China, the government also attaches great importance to the safety and the application of hydrogen. We're hoping that there will be national industrial standards being formulated in China. We are familiar with public transportation utilizing hydrogen in Hong Kong, but hydrogen could be applied in different areas, for instance, in petrochemical industry, and it could involve many different sectors and industries. So these are some of the case studies in Korea, in the United States, in Europe. The leakage and safety issues, the production of hydrogen, the transportation, the storage, and of course safety is an important issue in design, but in terms of maintenance and also the training is also something that we need to attach great importance to. Safety of hydrogen could be broken down into several areas: the production of hydrogen, the storage, the utilization, and the fuel cell. And so there are international standards for safety. 2734 ISO. And so at this stage of design, we need to identify the different risks to evaluate and categorize different risks. and also the purchase of equipment and the certification, and also the appliances, electronics, documents, and the training, safety measures, hydrogen station, emergency. These are all very important. Hydrogen is a dangerous good. In China, in Europe, in the United States, they all have different safety standards. And these are some of the areas that we need to consider. Hong Kong will consider the applications in mainland China, especially those in Foshan, and so we could consider all these. I will share with you some examples. What are some of the directives from the European Union that we could look at? Just now, we talked about some of the facilities. We could consider the ISO standard 19801 and the Chinese standard considers the design of hydrogen station. So Hong Kong could put both standards into consideration to come up with something suitable for Hong Kong. And I would promote ourselves as well. And we, in addition to doing assessment, we could also conduct experiments. We talked about the facilities, the quality control of hydrogen. So these are the Chinese standards and ISO standards. So Hong Kong could look at these different standards. We talked about sustainabilities, and in terms of accreditation and certification, we also have done a lot of breakthrough. We also released our S-Carbon platform with Microsoft and Town Gas Hong Kong. Hydrogen has been developing a lot, but it is important that we focus on safety, and this is key for us to develop further. We're sure that hydrogen will become a green energy in the future. Thank you.
好，谢谢David 的分享啊。
Thank you. We all echo collaboration mentioned by the Secretary. we are going to
Liu Zhang, BBSMHJP President, Hong Kong Environmental Industrial Association.
Thank you, everyone. I'm glad to see all of you here, still here. Well, I want to share with you that online we actually share this topic with Sinoblock in China. And you know how many people online watching us now? The high point was 5,000 some connections. Well, even today, right now, at this moment, it still has close to 4,000. So we are doing quite well in this topic. What that means is we have a very exciting, interesting topic because hydrogen is something that we all talk about, as all the speakers have shared with us. The importance is here, the need is here, the technology is here, the demand is here. So the million-dollar question, perhaps billion-dollar question is, why are we not doing faster, right? So I guess David's just last point is safety, get everybody's concern. But I have been in the environmental business for 30 years. One thing I want to share with you, changes take a long time. So even EV battery took a long time, EV cars. So I think the hydrogen will take some time. But with all our experts here today and all around the world, I think we can all do something to speed it up, okay? So at this time, I would like to invite all the speakers to come on stage, except the two speakers that was online, because the network is so busy, they could not get in to answer questions. Anyway, please, all our speakers, please come up.
Let's welcome Professor Lu Zhongming, Dr. Wan Yufeng, Mr. Simon Ong, Dr. Zhang Hanwei, Mr. David Hu. Thank you all.
Well, I have been looking at my watch because the organizers tell me that we got to finish by 5 here. So it's going to be challenging. So what I'm going to do is, as a moderator, there's been a lot of topics being spoke about earlier. Instead of asking each speaker what the challenges are, I want to just have some couple general questions first. And then they will bring out some specific questions. And hopefully, they'll let us finish by 5, okay? One of the questions, I think I just said that, you know, we all realize that there is a need. 2050 in Hong Kong, we want to be carbon neutral. In the motherland, China, with 2060. But one thing that I want everyone to be aware of is this is serious business. This is not just about buying another technology. We must find ways to reduce carbon emission, or else we will be facing this carbon and temperature rise to more than 1.5 degrees that all the expert is hoping we can achieve at that time. But on Monday, when I was talking to the Hong Kong Observatory director or former director, he's saying that his estimate we can only achieve 2.5 in 2050. 2.5, 1 degree higher. And then as we spoke a little bit more, he thinks we're more likely getting 3 degrees or 4 degrees. So what that means is going to be much more disasters hitting us. All this 100 year once rainfall, typhoons, whatever, is going to, create a big issue for us, for human beings. It's going to happen once a year instead of 100 years. So we all need to do something quickly. So my question is, with this hydrogen, the technology, we have all the speakers. We have the user, the bus companies, the transport. We have the manufacturers of the pipelines, transport units. We have generators. the town gas and also the waste to energy plants. We have all this technology. What do you think that you can do to speed up the process, that we can adopt this hydrogen quicker? I'm going to just pass this question, and I'm going to have Dr. Wang share with us first, because you're in Hong Kong now. You got the bus in Hong Kong, and I'm sure you are more interested to find out how soon can we get the gas.
Well, absolutely. Thanks, Daniel. I mean, obviously, as you know, what I said and what everybody has said, hydrogen is something that we are trialing and we want to use more and more. But I probably don't need to repeat that, you know, what everybody has already said in terms of the challenges that we face, being the safety, being the, you know, requirements of the whole value chain, being from upstream to the downstream, the lack of the standards, the lack of the, you know, low-cost green hydrogen, all that. That's all challenges. But, you know, in the meantime, the way I look at this is we don't have to wait for things to be perfect before we start, right? We can just start in a safe way, definitely. But you know, if we want to have a perfect start, then we probably never have the starting point. We just keep thinking. So, but at the same time, I think it's important to say that, okay, start, but what does that mean? We need to control quality. And therefore, we always need to maintain a balance. And that's why I said earlier that the way we consider this is we need to have, you know, each step planned, considered, you know, under a well-designed trial until we are confident that we know what is the best approach.
So in other words, we have to try with an intention, just do a pilot, move forward first.
Exactly. So we don't have to take like very large steps, every single step. We can take smaller steps. Every incremental change, you know, make us closer to that goal. But don't stop. Don't wait. We should start now, and we should take every step quicker.
That's what my personal trainer tells me. Don't stop running. You know, just if you get tired, just slow down a little bit, but don't stop. Well, I see Mr. Simon Ode and Mr. NGO he's raised his hand.
Mr. NGO is here.
Yes.
I would like to echo what Dr. Wen said. I think one point very important is government support. Well, I really agree with him that we can't just sit there to wait, you know. At least we kick out the hydrogen economy, you know, try out the logistic, well, the facilities, you know. Now is the time for the government to show its support, you know, if we want to accelerate our footstep, you know, towards such a greener future.
Okay, I'm looking, I say Ken Leung, he left already. Well, we will definitely put that question to the next opportunity.
Dr. Wen?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So, maybe with Dr. Zhang, I know your company operate a lot of waste to energy plant in mainland, and also see you are doing different process to get hydrogen. Now, sounds like from different speakers, China, our mainland China has a lot of examples and pilots already done. Moving forward, you're already having some hydrogen equipment, trucks moving along. Then, how soon do you think China can actually go to the next jump? Okay, consider those last couple of years are pilots. Do you see a big jump soon?
I was saying probably will take some time since actually the cost is so important for any product or industry. If you want to get the really fast jump, and you need to really become financially feasible or economically feasible. That's very important. But for the new technology or the relatively new technology, normally it takes time from the pilot to demonstration and need really time for the optimization of the option. It really takes time. So I don't think in a short time period we can see this kind of big jump. But on the other hand, you mentioned the Hong Kong case. I would think I think Mr. Xie mentioned that the carbon dioxide emission from waste is a very important source for Hong Kong. So why we just work on one step by step, or let's say stop the landfilling, then unless we can go to the next level, we can do the waste to energy. Then we can convert the waste to hydrogen. I mean, by the experience from the mainland China, they already in the past decade, they already go through very fast movement to the higher level of the solid waste treatment.
Well, I have to say that working in this environmental industry for the last 30 years, I see the different pace between Hong Kong and mainland. I have to say that we have a lot to learn to catch up. I remember when I first got into business 30 years ago, Hong Kong was talking about incinerators, and China was just in the infancy, they were just burning garbage, wasn't even incineration. But today, China have some of the most advanced incinerators in the world. So I think there are so many trial and error that's being successful, 先行先試, and I think that takes us to the next step, as Dr. Wang said and some of our speakers said. So I think you want to add on some comments on that?
Yeah, just one word. Just do it instead of talking it.
So like Nike's logo, right? Just do it. Okay, good. Well, I will have David comment on that. And the safety is definitely very important. Nobody can accept an explosion next door. Recently, Hong Kong, we have a few industrial accidents, and something just blew up under pressure, and someone got seriously, injured and killed. So, in your experience with SGS, is it really that difficult to keep it safe? Because honestly, for all of us, if a gasoline car blew up, nobody paid attention. It's like a common thing. So what? We got so many cars running around, some will blow up. Gas tanks blow up. Oil tankers leaks. Okay, that happens every day. But with hydrogen, somehow people just like, oh, this is the end of the world. So in your safety point, is there something that we can make people feel better, make it more transparent, make it more clear, so users and government officials especially, frankly, they're the one that worries the most. How do you make them feel a little more at ease?
Actually, I think the safety part is not the opposite part of the new energy development. Since we need to consider this kind of, we call it a standard or regulation move on, actually it can accelerate those kind of trials. Although that for the new form of any new things, people have concern, all the eye contacts will focus on it. As what Daniel said, that maybe the diesel car explosion is very common, just one day news, second day, nobody remember that. But for the new thing, everybody will have serious concern. But in our point of view, especially for SGS, we are trying to consolidate those kind of international-wide standards and practice, including equipment and also products altogether, which can provide easy access for the upstream and downstream industries. So I think which can help the things move faster.
Okay, thank you. Well, next to me is Professor Lu Zhongming. He's newly joined us on this panel. He's on the Division of Environment and Sustainability of the Hong Kong University Science and Technology. Now, as a professor of research, what can you help us or share with us, maybe perhaps to help explain to the government that really we should move forward and just do it and don't worry so much?
This is a challenging question. So first, our university and my colleagues working on various topics related to hydrogen, in particular green hydrogen. We are looking at the technologies, fuel cells, electrolyzers, as well as storage technologies. So for myself, we are asking a question is what's the vision of the future economy of hydrogen? We have different technologies, we have different suppliers. We already talked a lot of these possibilities. So what kind of scenario that should be economically viable, environmentally sustainable? This is the important question that to vision the scenario of hydrogen economy so that all the stakeholders can sit together and share the opinion of how to collaborate. So this is one thing that we are trying to help understand the vision of the hydrogen economy.
Thank you. I think it's important in the research space to build data, to get credibility, to convince users, especially government in this case. Okay, I think the biggest challenge, I think most of us here, I hope there's no government officials here, but I tell you, my experience is they're very cautious, they're ultra conservative, and so the word is, be safe and do it slowly. But because of this urgency of climate change issue, we need to slow down this temperature rise as soon as possible. So we need to take different steps and bolder steps and make something to push it, okay? Now, we're doing very good in time, okay? So what I want to do is I want to ask another question is maybe perhaps I will start again with the professor here since you're next to me. Now, in university, I know you have a lot of money or grants coming from different parts within the university as well as the government. Now, if you have to pick a research or one or two research that you can, let's do this in order to stabilize or ensure something that work and speed up the application of hydrogen. What type of research do you come into your mind? Anything that comes to your mind, that's fine.
Well, again, this is another challenging question because the research is so diverse. Okay. We have a lot of interest in different subjects. From my perspective, I think one thing is we need to have a clear understanding about the future hydrogen supply chain. So where we get to the hydrogen and what's the cost and how we use it, who use it. The entire the demand and the supply, this kind of vision should be understood well, because also the other point is we have a climate change. On the other hand, we should be careful about the way the hydrogen, because it's considered as indirect greenhouse gases. We have to be sure that we use it correctly, properly, and we also compare it with other technologies. We have multiple ways of doing decarbonization. So how are we going to have a good vision of this kind of new technology I think it's very important for academic to figure out and try to communicate with industries, with government, think about how we can collaborate to realize the most reasonable pathways.
Thank you. See, this is a professor, right? He's sharing us, yes, really a balanced view. Even though we are very biased today, we say about hydrogen, there are other ways to reduce carbon, reduce the temperature rise. We need to look at all of them. But since we are talking about hydrogen today, so we'll come back to hydrogen. Now, I'll go back this way, okay? David, with the SGS, around the world, you have so many people working. How many percentage of your staff are working on hydrogen? Just to let me feel that how serious are different organizations are moving towards this hydrogen business.
I cannot serious to tell that question. But for renewable energy is one of our strategies. We focus on the renewable energy, sustainability, and also the semiconductor. That's the future 5 years SGS strategy, especially for the Asia Pacific. Now, luckily in Hong Kong, we get a very fast development. I think our group will continue to invest in Hong Kong and China region and also Asia Pacific for the renewable energy, especially for the standard push on and talk to the government. We hope to help the industry to move faster. Yeah.
Well, thank you. You mentioned that you want to help the industry, but frankly, I think for most of us here, we are just, some of us are just starting to hear about hydrogen economy, how to apply hydrogen, the nature of hydrogen. So most people may not be that fully understand about hydrogen, especially about safety. Now, is that maybe perhaps in the future you can help with some of the organizations, we can actually develop some workshops to talk specifically about the type of equipment. For example, if somebody wants to make hydrogen, they need to know what type of pump, what type of equipment, the hydrogen corrosion effects, and all that things needs to be in place. So perhaps we could put all these experts together to form some type of workshop in the future. I mean, really talking about serious, down-to-hand workshop in order to inspire more manufacturers, more technicians, craftsmen to start working on this field. This is how we can speed things up. If we just leave it to one or two individuals or groups, it will take forever. So we'll be counting on your support because you do all the testing, you know what is good, what valve should be used, what type of material should be used, under what conditions. You're talking about the high pressure, 800 bars. I know earlier we have a speaker, also Dr. Zhang's, another speaker, I think John Holmes was telling us about different type of carbon fiber cylinders. There's a lot of things that we need to know about. Okay, I'll go back to also Dr. Zhang here about waste to energy. I know your focus is more on this hydrogen business than general waste. Is that correct?
Really, now we start from the easier part. We start from the high heating value waste, which is most from industry or from commercial buildings. That's the reason we now, step by step, we just don't want to stop. We want to move first with the easier part, and probably in a few years, probably we can go back and look to the general waste. Let's say municipal solid waste.
Yeah, earlier I think one opportunity is really using sewage waste, and if we can use sewage waste, and that will solve two problems: the sewage problem as well as the energy problem. Are you start working on that?
Yes, we're working on that. We just digest this sludge with kitchen waste together to increase the generation of the biogas. Yes, we did.
Okay, so from the biogas, then you extract it and purified it.
Yes, same process, but we just use multiple waste streams instead of one.
So I think what is important that we need to be open-minded. Every time when somebody said that's waste, I've been in business for 30 years. I've been telling everybody, there's no such thing as waste in this world. Everything has its purpose. We just haven't figured out how to use it yet. So if we think about it, we'll be able to find some kind of solution. And that's where the government point comes in, is to guide us and lead us and to support it so we can move faster instead of individual operations.
I was thinking, at least in Foshan, actually, that's more get the positive response from the government. They really want to lower down the cost of the hydrogen to boost this whole industry. That's like one of the case. Another one probably is for the storage and transportation. But the government, the local government, really want the company like us to work on some technology new, really lower down the cost.
Okay, thank you. Now, this question I want to address to both Dr. Wang and also Simon, because you both are operating in Hong Kong now. Both actually need each other because the bus needs the gas and the gas needs a user. So can you maybe forecast or give us some idea how much longer before you think we can actually not putting one bus on the road, but actually having at least a small fleet of buses running with hydrogen? Whoever would want to start.
No. Happy to make a start. So I think I talk about this from two perspectives: technology perspective and the practicality. Okay. So from technology perspective, I think it could be quite soon. Obviously, we already have the first hydrogen fuel cell bus, and to have the next generation, with 700 bar. Technically, I don't think it will take a long time. Okay, the components are there, just need to put it together in the right way. Obviously, that does involve the government approval, but again, to be fair, I think government has been very supportive. They are working close with us to look at the approval. Now, the reason I say there's another perspective, practicality, is that we've been talking about all the topic of this forum is hydrogen economy. I think it's probably fair to say that we haven't talked much about economy. The fact is, it's not economic. Okay, that's the elephant in the room. The technology has been around for a long time, but it's the cost, right? So in the past, the reason that all these technologies, fuel cell technology has been around for at least more than 20 years. Hydrogen combustion for as long as rocket has been using hydrogen from when 70s. But it's expensive. It's very, very expensive. And also, when it comes to the buses, they are much more expensive than diesel buses. So if you look across the world, including mainland China, including like everywhere in the world, you do need good sort of financial support to boost this economy. And once you start doing that, then you start scaling up the production, and that start reducing the cost. There's no difference, compared to all the other new wave of technologies, whether it's battery or whether it's anything else. So that part is very difficult for us to, predict, because it does rely on, again, the collaboration between, us and the government and everybody else on this value chain. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think Simon.
Yeah. To us as a supply on the supplier side, well, the simple answer is we are ready. We are ready anytime. I do agree that there shouldn't be a technology issue. There shouldn't be a technology barrier. The key factor is the support, as I said, the support from the government. This is only not on the financial side, subsidy, whatever. It's also on the regulatory side, as you just said, government has been too cautious, in the past, using the appropriate word, Well, actually, we need to be fast, because, just imagine, our customer, not only the bus company, but also, our focus is also on those heavy cargo truck. In mainland China, there will be enormous number of hydrogen cargo truck. If they cross the border, how are we going to support them? Right? So we got to be fast. Technology is here. So we are ready anytime. But now we do need government support, both on the financial side and also the regulatory side.
Okay, thank you. I was going to ask you a $1 million question also, how much that per kg of hydrogen will end up if you're running your process in Hong Kong. Will that be acceptable to the bus companies?
difficult question. The simple answer I can give to you is cheaper than the hydrogen you order from mainland China now.
Okay, I understand. Because we don't worry about the logistics and storage and all that, because you're already in Hong Kong. You've all this pipeline already ready. Okay, now I'm looking at the time, but I want to thank all the other audience online too. So we want to leave a little time for some of the question for the audience. And I have already received actually a question earlier. And the question by one of the audiences is similar to some of the questions we asked. He said, seems like Japan is moving pretty forward fast in this hydrogen economy. They even make cars. The Mirara, or I couldn't pronounce it properly. They're already doing it. They're already building the hydrogen stations. So do you know, his question is, why are we not moving as fast as them? Perhaps maybe you know, Dr. Mann, you can comment on it, or maybe David or somebody who wants to jump into that, answer that question.
Me to
compare in Japan.
I put my 2 cents on this. I think we're starting late. Let's be honest here, right? So I remember when I started talking about hydrogen probably 12, 18 months ago, it was still a novelty. Obviously, people have already talked about it, but not sort of in the mainstream. So we are starting late. And Japan, you know, instead has been working on hydrogen for a long time. Now, if you look at countries who have been very keen on hydrogen, generally they divided into 2 camps. One is the countries that have very low resource, and therefore they need to go to the new energy. So, you know, they need to, not only for the protection of the environment, but also would like to go for a high efficiency fuel. And therefore hydrogen, you know, has been a good resource for them to tap into. And that applies to Japan, Korea, and frankly, even for China. I think, you know, to be able to use our renewable energy using hydrogen as a carrier is a very important thing. Now, the other type is the resource-rich countries. So the likes of Canada, the likes of Australia, even now the Middle East wants to push out hydrogen. Now, Hong Kong has not had that incentive because we have resources. You know, we have mainland supplying us electricity. And on the other hand, you know, we don't have much incentive, you know, for any other reason to go for a new energy until we start having a environmental, you know, protection goal. And therefore, we do need to act more urgently to compensate the late start. But the benefit is we can look at many, you know, achievements, many standards that have already been achieved, already established elsewhere in the world. And therefore, we're not starting blind. So I think we can catch up and probably do better.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I'm going to come to the... Oh, you have a question? Okay, well, one more question. We're still doing okay in time. We have 5 more minutes.
Yeah, I'm Matt Chow from High Tech Energy. And we are also always talking about transportation, like hydrogen bus and also heavy-duty truck. I think it's a good thing. But however, in other economies like Japan, Europe, there's a lot of hydrogen fuel cell, forklift, and also residential application. We also hear Simon said they are ready to supply the hydrogen by pipeline. I think it's a good thing if we can use the pipeline. Hong Kong have so many twin up, yes. And it may be a good application for residential as well. So Leap4 has been used by Amazon and other logistics centers for a long time. What do you think about this potential application in Hong Kong?
Well, I think I will pass this question to Simon. But certainly, yes, Japan has been using the hydrogen, you know, for fuel cell at home for a long time already.
It's not the hydrogen. They use natural gas.
Natural gas, that's right.
Referring to the end farm, you know, with small fuel cell using natural gas to generate power and also hot water. Well, This is also the area. Thank you for reminding us. Okay, actually, we are seriously looking at that. In the past, for those Chun Oak, this is because it's far away from the network. We have to look at the financial side as well. And we are keenly competing with the power suppliers vigorously. But now we we see the opportunity, because you read your electricity tariff in the recent months, you realize that now is the opportunity for us to, go consider seriously this market. We'll take into consideration this, any farm concept.
Okay. Well, thank you. I have to draw this to a close for all the questions. And I think hearing from all the experts and all the speakers, we are hearing that the technology is here, the willingness is here, the timing is right. We need to do it. So it's time to just do it and take actions. I think all of us need to all work together closely. Definitely, I will follow up on that workshop concept to try to get even from university students to practitioners, people to learn about, what do we have to do in order to apply this hydrogen into our everyday life. And I know I want to pass the mic to Colin to close, but I want everyone to thank our panel here first and give everybody a big hand.
Before I invite the guests return to the speaker, may I invite Colin Tam, the chairman of the organizing committee, to come to the stage. And may I suggest you to take a group photo before Colin had a speech? A group photo? Okay. Yeah. Just like Daniel said, we need to work fast and work together. So yeah, let's take a good photo and so that we will work together to move to a hydrogen economy in soon. Okay, thank you all. Now is the time for the closing remark. We welcome the Mr. Colin Tam, the chairman of the organizing committee, and also chairman of HESCO. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for Daniel to conduct such a exciting and lively panel discussion. Just as everybody knows that the theme here is that let's take action, and I just want to add before I start the official closing that if a 72-year-old man like me is dare to start a new company to produce hydrogen from waste with a unproven technology yet, a new technology, I think that should give a lot of you courage and the incentive to try, because I believe in the hydrogen future to solve the climate change problem in the world. And Nicholas is smiling at me, and he knows that how hard I've been trying to do that, personally. So I encourage everybody to try your best, especially now, today, you have learned all the technology and all the bright future of what the hydrogen society, what the hydrogen economy can benefit the world as a whole. So this year is the third Hydrogen Economy Forum, and we have reached, as you just heard, more than 800 people register to attend, and more than 5,000 people were on the live broadcast through our media connection in mainland, Xinlang Wang. And I were very, very personally encouraged by that, because that tells me the wide interest of the public about the subject. So we should capture that momentum. But I would also like here to finish by thanking the Secretary for Environment of Hong Kong, Mr. Se Jianhua, for delivering his keynote speech, and also for Dr. Kenneth Leung of the EPD for encouraging all the co-organizers and the other stakeholders, including industry and university in Hong Kong, to jointly put this program together. You're seeing me, I'm reading my notes so that I don't miss anybody. I would also like to thank the support of our strategic partner, the Hong Kong TDC, in particular, Madam Sophia Chung and Mr. Will Lee and their team for providing all the logistic and the promotional support of this forum. Of course, I need to thank our two sponsor organizations, the China Galaxy International, and also thank them for making the event carbon neutral for the first time for any event publicly held in Hong Kong. I think that if we started this chain, we would have China Galaxy International to thank for. And then I would like to also thank Anyways Asia Pacific Limited. They are recommended here by their CEO, Samson Ng, and we thank for their financial support as well as many human sources support for making this event possible. Then I, of course, have to thank all the leaders of the 5 co-organizers, Dr. Lo Wai Gok, Professor Daniel Chen, Mr. Simon Ng, and Mr. Johnny Chen. I also want to thank all the supporting organizations. As you see here, a lot of major engineering organizations are supporting our effort here, and I thank them. I need to thank the organization committee and the IT team, in particular, the Honorable Secretary of HASCO, Mr. Peter Ho, and Mr. Louis Chen, for their endless hard-working hours in managing the minute details of organizing such an event. Last, but definitely not the least, I want to thank everybody attending physically and also everybody attending online, including those who have not registered but watching us on direct feed. I hope I can confidently announce that we will have the 4th Hydrogen Economic Forum next year. And also, during the last 3 days, I was very much encouraged by everybody I talked to that they all feel this sense of urgency and say, let's put our effort together. So I will try to put this together, just be the facilitator. And hopefully, a lot of people already on this path, but I will try to be, and our group here will try to be the organizer, putting everybody together. And we would not only have the 4th Hydrogen Economy Forum next year, but we'll also have a Hydrogen Economy Pavilion in next year's Eco Expo so that more people can be educated about the transition from fossil to renewable and what hydrogen can play in that transition. Thank you very much again, everybody, and have a good evening.
Thank you all. Thanks for the participation physically and online. If you have time, we also encourage you to show around for the Eco Expo physically and online. Thank you and see you next year. Thank you.